Next Curve.
Hey everyone, welcome to Next Curve Rethink webcast podcast. And our Analyst Corner, I'm Leonard Lee, Executive Analyst at Next Curve. And in this episode of Silicon Futures, where we cover the stuff happening in the semiconductor industry and, the whole universe, exciting universe of AI, we cover all the stuff that matters. And I just want to welcome my partner here, my collaborator, my friend, Karl Freund.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, and he is the founder and principal analyst at Cambrian-AI Research LLC. And
thanks for throwing in the hyphen.
Yeah, I figure I wouldn't forget that.
I had to do it.
Although,
there was another Cambrian and AI.
Yeah, I might have needed my smartphone to remember that because all my attention has been displaced to devices. So, but yeah, hey, Karl is the leading analyst, I think. Can I say that? Covering the
it works for me, bud. Jump right in.
You have this affinity for all things.
Certainly get a lot of coverage on Forbes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So read my stuff there, or go to CambrianAI.com and see what I think, and disagree with me, that's fine. Have a good dialogue. That's what this is all about. Leonard and I disagree on as many things as we agree on.
Probably, if not
probably.
But you know what? Debate is where we're not here to be. We're not here to. Well, yeah, we are here to be right, but
hopefully we'll be here to be a little provocative too. There's a lot of things going on in the industry right now. A lot's good, a lot is not good, and so we're here to hopefully help you sort out at least what we think it might be good and what might not be good. You want to start with Intel?
Yeah,
or you want to start with Cadence?
Questions? No, I think let's talk about Cadence because this was just this week, right?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Read this book. This is an amazing book. Dr. Joy is like one of the most amazing people I've ever met. Dr. Joy. He is just phenomenal.
Bulam
Weenie.
Yeah, I have her book.
Bulam. Yeah, you got one too. Signed by her.
And delivered, yes. And she is an incredible individual, and she did some groundbreaking research on basically raising and quantifying and qualifying the racial and gender bias that is in AI of some of the largest tech companies.
She had to wear a white mask. She had to wear a white mask because AI did not recognize her black face. It was too black, and so it couldn't.
Right.
Said no face here, So she put on this white mask and did her coding with a white mask on. So anyway, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. What we're talking about, Leonard and I had the pleasure, really the distinct pleasure and honor, to attend the Fem.AI event sponsored by Cadence, which is all about trying to help women, providing resources to help women enter and remain and thrive in the world of AI. And the speaker list was amazing. Everybody from Chelsea Clinton to CEOs. Yeah, it was just amazing.
It was quite surprising for me. I didn't really know what to expect. It was a revelation for me.
It was for me. Just like really an example.
It was an incredibly powerful. Yeah, it was an incredibly powerful agenda, and I had actually asked the CEO of Cadence, right, Anurand, did you guys do this on purpose? Was this by design or by mistake? Because if it was a mistake, you guys got lucky. If it was by design, it was genius. It was an incredibly powerful program, and it was nonstop. You were getting hit constantly with just inspirational stories, presentations, and discussions that really changed the way you thought of diversity. And I thought it was very powerful.
A couple of data points that stuck in my mind, right? In my feeble mind. One of them was, guess what percent of the AI workforce is women, female,
Probably pretty low.
20%.
Yeah.
Guess what percent of leadership in developing AI? 10%. And this is data that Cadence had done some research on. So, I mean, why would we leave off half of the human race and leave them out of the development of the most important technology we've seen since sliced bread? I mean, you wouldn't, not intentionally. So
Yeah.
what's wrong? Why is that? And we examined it from the entire pipeline of education through development, mentorship, coaching, and everything else needs to change in order for us to fix this problem and embrace the intellect that women can offer and the passion that women can offer in the development of AI. So it was a great event.
Yeah.
They'll do it every year too.
Yeah.
This was the first, right?
Yeah, this was the inaugural event, and it was a program that came out of Cadence. I think it's Cadence Charity Foundation.
Yeah,
right?
Cadence Charity Foundation.
Sponsored by the
Giving Foundation. I think it's called Cadence Giving Foundation. But anyway, yeah, it was remarkable, just remarkable.
Yeah, and I mean, so one of a few of the takes that I walked away with is, number one, men need to be part of the diversity discussion, and quite honestly, I think it starts with dads, their daughters, right? And I think empathy has to be part of the equation, and empathy on the part of men who understand, number one, the challenges and the biases, which was a huge keyword at the conference, that women face, and in STEM in general, as well as as they pursue careers related to STEM, and AI is part of that. But being able to get past these biases and then develop an empathy for the situation, but also, like what you said, a recognition of how this talent pool that's there that could go untapped. It is getting tapped, but we have so much further to go to get that level of balance, I guess. I don't know. But one of the other things, Karl, I don't know if you picked up on this, but the conversation was so different. And you really got a sense of how diversity enriches the conversation around technology, AI, and especially its application, its responsible application. That topic came up very powerfully. And I think that the diversity and the voice that women bring to the table, and maybe this is because they suffer biases, it is so powerful, and can't be disregarded. And I think it's an essential part of the overall innovation discussion. Maybe it's the part that checks things and makes sure that we're moving towards safe and responsible directions versus just, this, let's call it male-dominated direction.
Yeah.
Where it's maybe, innovation or nothing.
Well, one of the things I agree, and one of the things that really stuck with me was the different perspectives women can bring to AI.
Yeah.
Women, and there was some data to support this. Women are much better than men in general at integration across disciplines, across domains. And so when you think of things like artificial general intelligence, that is really the problem right now, is integrating all the different domains of knowledge and producing true intelligence is an integration problem.
Yeah.
And that women are actually, I hate to make generalizations, but in general, women really excel at that integration. I know the same is true with my wife. She does a much better job of integrating things than I do. I tend to focus.
Sure that's not just you, Karl. But fantastic, quite honestly, mind-blowing summit. Congratulations to the Cadence.
Anirudh Devgan, CEO of Cadence. This is all on him, right? And his team. for pulling this incredibly complex event together with all the amazing speakers they had, and his commitment to addressing this. He needs to solve this problem.
Yeah.
He can't get enough quality employees that he needs to run his business. And he's saying, why can't we hire a lot more women? Well, they're not going to school. They're not graduating out of STEM at the same rate as men are. And he said, well, what can we do about that? And he put together a program to start doing it. They're investing, I think it was $8 million right from the start, just this year, and includes everything from scholarships to mentorship and so forth. It's a very holistic approach. So anyway, bravo to Cadence. Nice job.
Yes, and thanks for inviting us. So
yeah, thanks for inviting us
and giving us the opportunity to participate.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so thank you. Let's jump into the tech announcements, and because you and I haven't spoken in a while. I mean, it's weird. A month goes by, and there's so much stuff that happens. It almost seems like we have to talk or do this thing every day.
Just about, but we would probably bore people. I don't know. But a couple things I think that are quite timely right now that you should probably share with your audience. First is what's happening with Intel. Second is what's happening at OpenAI. Because they announced their funding. Third might be the filing of an IPO with Cadence. Cadence. Good, Karl. With Cerebras. I just published an article on Forbes, and I pointed out in the headline, this is the first IPO of the generative AI era. And people go, really? Yes. No one's gone public. And they have at least filed for a public offering now. So maybe we can hit on those three things.
Yeah, sure. That's exactly what I was thinking. So a lot of news coming out of Intel. So number one, the Foundry announcement. They have a deal with AWS that they announced as well. Gaudi 3 and Xeon 6, or Granite Rapids specifically, the P-Core version that was launched just last week.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, all of that against the backdrop of a very difficult quarter for them. And a lot to digest, quite frankly. And then, of course, there's all these rumors circulating around about, spinoffs as well as acquisitions, which I think may be too premature. I mean, a lot of these things don't seem to have a lot of legs. It's just, probably, clickbait, conjecture that's happening. So I don't know. I don't really want to talk much about those because I don't think there's a lot of reason to argue about something that hasn't been proven to be anything beyond a rumor. Unless is there anything that you would like to share with cards?
And Qualcomm definitely approached them. That's been qualified, but no. I think there's been a lot written about it, and I think the general consensus of most analysts, is myself included, is not a good idea. I think Qualcomm's got a lot going for them. Why would they saddle themselves with all the problems that Intel has? And also, you got to think, if you were Pat Gelsinger, would you sell now? I mean, you got to be approaching a bottom. There's hopefully one way up, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd be interested in selling now. But what do I know? I don't know Pat personally.
Well, it's pretty clear that Intel accelerated a lot of things. They accelerated Meteor Lake, they accelerated Lunar Lake, and those had implications, right? And one of the things I wrote about was how, making adjustments to your roadmap in response to competition has a price, right? And past the previous quarter, definitely an eyesore. It was difficult for Wall Street and the industry to really accept anything but a way. But I think we can't forget that they are executing on a roadmap, which they've had to adjust, right? I think one of the things that we can't lose sight of is that they are on a trajectory. And so if we look at the 5 nodes in 4 years, they've been moving along this for almost 4 years now, right?
Right.
Momentum. And they also have products that are coming to market now that are starting to prove that, hey, these guys are actually delivering on some of the quote unquote promises, and in terms of performance, scale, as well as power efficiency that were being expected, right? And especially with the advent of Lunar Lake, yeah, I think there's opportunities for everyone to be reminded that, hey, look, there are some positive things happening here as part of this effort to reconstitute not only Intel's business, which is a very complex one, right? I mean, they have a foundry business as part of their portfolio that is going through an enormous change, right? And it's a key dependency to a lot of the products that are on their product roadmaps. And so, I think we'll probably be thinking differently about Intel in about 6 months. Once, once Lunar Lake has had time to settle into the market and express its impact and its value to the Intel strategy, but also Arrow Lake. Then we're going to have Panther Lake coming in. And so these are all hopeful events and product releases on the roadmap that I think shouldn't be disregarded. I mean, we keep an eye on, yes, there's all this other stuff that's happening from a financial perspective that's really challenging and makes things look really dire. But even from a roadmap perspective for the 5 nodes in 4 years, I think there's been some simplification, which I think will de-risk the next few months.
Dropping 20 nano. Oh, there's my wife, Lynn. Hey, hi. Dropping 20 was a good move, right? But you think about it, it took a long time for Intel to get into this spot. It's going to take them a long time to get out of it. First you have to at least get up to some level of parity with AMD and NVIDIA, and then maybe leadership. I think you're starting to see parity, right? If you look at Xeon 6 with the performance cores and efficiency cores, they can now compete. Now, can they win new design wins? I don't know. I think a lot depends on what AMD announces next week with Turin. But right now, Intel has by far the best PC chip that also runs AI, runs it really well. Gaudi 3 is a little different story. It's a really good chip. They got a design win. The IBM Cloud. Yeah, I suspect there'll be another one coming soon. That looks really good. Really probable. Yeah, they would be able to get another design win. And, but after that, it's going to be tough sailing, just because it's the last of its kind. After that, they converge it with the GPU. And sorry about the interruption there.
Oh no! Everyone should know it's the family show.
It's a family show. My dog, that's Daisy. She sleeps. She sleeps a lot. But I do think we're still seeing the signs of a stabilization of the business, and it is unfortunate they still have one major transition to go, which is from Gaudi to the converged GPU and Gaudi ASIC. So that's going to happen late 2025.
Obviously, there's still a pipeline on the GenAI supercomputing side of this GenAI opportunity. There's also some questions about how sustainable that spend is. And, for all we know, toward the beginning of next year, we might start to see some growing interest about inference computing, and the economics there may play favorably, or the economics at Intel with Xeon 6 and Gaudi 3 might be able to bring it to the table, might provide some favorable economics there. So we still have to see. I think Intel has to really figure out how to position Gaudi. And I think maybe IBM can help them, right?
Well, the fact that there was a design win is a big help, right? Because
Yeah.
there hasn't been any design wins for Gaudi 2 to speak of.
Yeah.
And at least with the IBM cloud behind them and perhaps a couple other smaller cloud providers signing up, because it's got really good performance per watt, performance per dollar. The challenge is people buy roadmaps, not just chips. And
Yeah.
so they have to buy into this roadmap
Yeah.
to get there. So, and the software they've done a pretty good job on the software, but they got a long way to go.
Their client computing business is the big one, right? And so we'll see how a Lunar Lake, how the market responds to that. And so far, some of the benchmarks that have come out seem to be pretty positive.
Yeah.
Then it's also a testament to Qualcomm. I mean, it really looks like Gerard Williams and team have done some wonders with Oryon.
Snapdragon summons later this month, and we'll see what else they're going to do with Gerard's team's CPUs. For those who are not familiar, he came in through an acquisition, Nuvia. He had a chip that was designed really for servers, and they did a student body left and turned it into a really fast laptop processor with really good AI from Qualcomm. So. Yep. That's going to be coming to a phone near you, I suspect, fairly soon.
They you have to hand it to them. They shook up the world, the PC world, right? And but I think Intel has come back in response with something pretty.
Yeah, they responded very quickly,
especially on the GPU side. Jim McGregor and Dave Altavia and I, we kind of covered this one. We were in Taipei for a tech tour as well as Computex. So yeah, we kind of anticipated to come in pretty strong with the GPU. But hey, you wanted to talk about OpenAI. So
yeah, it's just real quick. OpenAI, they raised $6.6 billion with B at a valuation of $157 billion, which is roughly the same valuation as pretty major companies. A lot of people are like, really? That's a lot. That's a very high valuation. And so I've had the press call me and they say, is this valuation crazy? I'm like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? If there's any software company worth 167 billion, yeah, it's probably OpenAI. They continue to drive towards artificial general intelligence. The investors do have the opportunity to get their money back if OpenAI does not complete their transition from a partial not-for-profit, partial profit with a capped profit. They're getting out of that and they're making it a for-profit company. So to convince investors that he really means it, Sam Altman said, okay, great, give us your money. If I don't steer this company to a fully for-profit company, I'll give you your money back. And wow, that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA was an investor, although it was a fairly small amount, about $100 million, very, very small amount. Microsoft put in $1 billion. Let's see who else. SoftBank. SoftBank put in about $500 million. So there are obviously other investors to get you up to the $6.6 billion. Much of that came from Thrive Capital.
Yeah,
they put in $1.25 billion. So
yeah,
$1 billion here, $1 billion there. Sooner or later, you're talking about real money.
No, but I think you gave the perfect answer. Who knows what the valuation is? But and that's generally that's actually what we heard from the VC panel at Fem.AI, because that question came up, right? And they said, well. Yeah. We try to study the market. We try to study our founders, and then we don't know, but we place bets where we think they make sense, and then you kind of cross your fingers. But yeah, one participant, early participant or alleged participant, Apple pulled out, right? I thought
Yeah, they
that.
pulled out.
There's some talk about, they wanted to have a perception, or they wanted some independence. They wanted to be seen as a neutral party in all this AI stuff, which I think is fair, because there are competitors out there, right? There are open source competitors, and there's no assurance that OpenAI is going to be at the forefront of this quote unquote generative AI race going forward. And we've already seen the narrative change so much, right? In the past, I would say 20 months now. But there's really no way to tell, right? And the other thing that's really problematic is that everyone's still hunting for the end market monetization, not the monetization you talk about all the time, right? Which is the picks and shovels monetization, which that's important, but I think these investments need to find a return from value delivered and monetized from the end markets, and so I think that's still pretty elusive. So we'll see how things go, right?
Yeah.
But I just I thought it was notable that Apple kind of bailed on this.
Yeah. Well, when you figure out Apple's AI strategy, give me a call. Let me know what you figured out.
I'll tell you after the call. Yeah, it's a secret.
It's a secret. I'm going to keep everything secret.
You and me, Karl.
I've got my new iPhone. There's Daisy, by the way. I've got my new iPhone, and I'm waiting for Apple AI, Apple Intelligence to show up on this thing, and I'll let you know what I think when it happens.
Okay. Yeah, I have a funny feeling you're going to be underwhelmed, but you didn't hear that from me. Hey, I didn't say.
No.
Hey, yeah, fair and balanced. Okay. So Cerebras.
Yeah, it's real quick. Cerebras filed for an IPO. It's been rumored for quite some time. Filing's been made. No idea of valuation or number of shares or anything like that yet. But I just think it's just monumental. It less than 2 years after the launch of ChatGPT, we finally have a company that is making silicon, making systems, step up to the plate and issue a public offering instead of dipping back into the venture capital pool to get their next round of funding, which of course they'll need. The challenge Cerebras has is they have one major customer, right? G42.
Yeah.
And the press called me up and said, "So, is this real?" And I said, "Well, did you ever hear of G42 before they decided to buy hundreds of millions of dollars of Cerebras hardware?" "No." "Okay, do you think there might be another G42 out there that you don't know about?" "Yeah, probably." Yeah. So I think there's a lot of, everybody says, well, they can't get Amazon, they can't get Google, they can't get Microsoft. Forget it. These guys are toast. And I'm like, no, there's lots, everybody will need AI. AI will become absolutely pervasive. It will be everywhere.
Yeah.
So not everybody speaks English. Not everybody understands things the way Americans understand things. And God, I don't understand the way Americans think about things.
I mean, I think when it comes
to... So there's lots more customers out there we haven't heard from.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll have to see about that. But I think one of the things that definitely bring to the competitive landscape is another system play, like what you mentioned, right? Some of these applications that the Cerebras data center clusters are gonna, and it's the Condor Galaxy 3, I think, right? Isn't that
it's Galaxy 3, yeah.
Yeah, Galaxy 3 will be large enough where I think having, let's say, CUDA or a general purpose software layer may not be as important, given the scale of some of the workloads and the applications that these systems will be running. And so, while there may be an argument, well, NVIDIA will beat them because of the software, that's like the prototype these days, the moat argument these days. But there is this dynamic of scale, right? And if the workload is large enough, and that large language model training, especially MOE stuff, is at that scale, right? And supercomputing is not a new thing. It's been there before CUDA, and there's, for some of these very high value, massive workloads where the economic scale makes sense, it could make the software moat argument more muted than if you were looking at smaller scale applications, right? Where having general purpose, lends to the economics of those applications being viable. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think these are like government scale type things. So if you were talking about customers, maybe what Cerebras has an opportunity in are some of these sovereign AI.
Well, sovereign wealth funds investing in sovereign data centers. That makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, United Arab Emirates has a population that's interested in using AI themselves, but they don't want it to be in English, and they'd like to be cognizant of their culture and their history and all their national assets. And the same is going to be true for every country in the world. And so countries that cannot afford this, unfortunately, they will be left behind. So if you want your scientists doing the best science, they're going to have to use AI. And so if you don't want them coming over and using, and doing it on Amazon or Azure, then you need to set up your own data center for your country. And you're going to see this happen in Asia. You can see it happen in the Middle East. You'll see it happen in Africa and South America. So, I think there's a huge opportunity there for somebody. NVIDIA is harvesting that field as well, of course. So you don't have it.
Oh yeah. They're the guys that are really going around promoting sovereign AI, right? I mean, they're shaping that market, quite honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I still want to wait to see how all that pans out. I know that like countries like South Korea are really into it, and I heard some stuff about Indonesia. So we'll see how all this pans out. Again, I still think generative AI is pretty nascent, has a long way to go.
Oh yeah. And it's hard to believe that with it driving so much revenue for NVIDIA, the fact, as you point out, that's just the picks and shovels. So it's what you do with those picks and shovels, what you build with those picks and shovels that will change the world. And then, of course, and Jensen's been talking a lot about robotics of late. Physical AI is the next big thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But there you've got a big trust wall you have to climb. Yeah. People to trust robots, especially humanoid robots.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some work done there.
Yes, we want R2D2s. We don't want Terminators, right?
Right. Well, little R2D2s.
Like BB, what is it, BB1 or the
BB1? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we want. Okay, wonderful. So
all right.
We got to keep an eye out on Cerebras, right? I mean, I think that's really exciting. And just one more note on that. The other reason, one of the reasons why I think this company is really interesting is because they introduce a whole different architecture.
Right.
Generative AI supercomputer, AI supercomputing in general. And I think that's exciting,
I do too.
It has a huge impact on the competitive dynamics in this new market. Yeah. But the technological innovations that have gone into this architecture are just like, I don't know, I think it's super clever.
Yeah. Nobody else is doing it yet. But I don't know, do you think there will be other wafer scale implementations in, say, the next 5 years?
I think so. I think it's just genius design.
Yeah. Why take a wafer full of chips, put them all up, put them all on boards, put them in servers, and then reconnect them all through networking?
Yeah.
Right?
Instead here, you get past the whole yield issue.
Yeah.
And, routing around dead cores.
Bad parts. Yeah.
With software. But then you end up with this massive accelerator.
Yeah.
that, like you said, what is it? They have like a 900,000 cores on a single chip. And that you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to.
That's why I love Cerebras. They're the only company doing this. Everybody else is trying to outdo NVIDIA with a better GPU or an ASIC that runs the same code that people are interested in. And they're not changing the system architecture. Cerebras is a completely different system architecture. So if AI is a system level, by system I mean rack or multiple racks, not just a 2U server. If AI is a system level problem, maybe you should have a system that's designed for it, not just a chip.
Yeah.
And so
At the
it
moment,
makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Andrew's convinced me. I'm a fan. I can't afford one at a couple $1,000,000, and I probably couldn't fit it in my office here.
But I just think it's super clever, people should look into it. The whole chip design, the whole system design. It's very, 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 very clever. So
absolutely,
it's a great answer to this scaling problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, all right, Karl. Hey, we have a time for it in this episode.
Good talking with you.
Yeah.
And
thanks for tuning in. And Karl,
thanks for listening.
Yeah. How does everyone get in touch with you?
Cameron-AI.com, or just follow me on Forbes. But if you don't have a Forbes subscription, you can read the stuff 5 days after I publish it on Cameron-AI.com.
There you go. Yeah. And so all of you, again, thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe to the Next Curve Rethink webcast here on YouTube as well as on Buzzsprout. Take us on your hike, your ski run, your jog, your drive, and you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. And remember to subscribe to Next Curve Research at www.next-curve.com for a constant diet of the tech and industry insights that matter. And remember, we're a family show.
Our family show. See, I got my whole family here on the show. So
love it. Oh, right. Take care.
She's working hard. All right. Take care. Nice to chat with you, Leonard. Take care.
Same here. Bye.
Bye-bye.